Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, Mamas. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I do hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave, become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned anyway. Today we're going to be talking all about drugstore contour. Now, in all of my experience in all of the drugstore products in all of my repertoire, whatever, in all of my collection, y'all, contour seems to be the absolute hardest to find. Like it, and I'm not talking about bronzer, because bronzer abounds at the drugstore, okay? There are bronzers that are fantastic, there are bronzers that are good, and there are bronzers that are not so great. But there are bronzers. Contour, on the other hand, a true gray-toned contour is few and far between and very, very hard to come by. And I honestly don't have one in my collection, not a true gray-toned contour. The closest thing I've seen to a true gray-toned contour would probably be the e.l.f. The putty bronzer in the shade, in the fairest shade. It looks kind of the most like a cream contour, and I'm talking about like mostly cream contour, but there are a few powder contours that I kind of have in my arsenal right here that I'm going to talk about today. I don't unfortunately have the e.l.f. bronzer in my collection or in my possession, but I did just order a liquid contour from Sheen Beauty that I have very, very high hopes for. So as soon as that comes in, expect to see a video on that. But until then, we are going to talk about what I have right now. Now, contour, guys, I'm a big girl. I have a very large round face. I have very, very chubby cheeks, and I'm totally okay with that. I'm beautiful. Big is beautiful. Skinny is beautiful. Everything in between is beautiful.
That's right.
But my husband says that's right. But oh, he just flustered me. But I do still like to, when I do my makeup, to add a little bit of shape to my face, which there's nothing wrong with that. I like to present, you know, the most advanced, most beautiful version of me that I possibly can. And contour helps me get there. But contour is not bronzer. And in this video, I'm going to hopefully show you guys the differences. And unfortunately, I don't have a true contour to show you guys, but I will show you the best options that I have found at the drugstore. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a full face. But before that, I'm gonna talk about the list I've got. The selections I've got sitting before me. So the first of which being, let's start at the low end of the spectrum and work our way up. So the cheapest options I have are these are the Wet n Wild contour sticks. Now I have 3 different shades, all three of which work for me at different points of the year. So this is what they look like. I have had these for a very, very long time. They will last you forever. I have 3 different shades, like I said. So I have 90R, 80, 805, and 804A. So the first one, this is the lightest one. This is 804A. This is in the shade Oaks on You. And this is what this looks like. Now this, for me, would be a bronzer shade. Not really a contour, but it is a bronzer. It's a beautiful bronzer. They're very, very creamy, easy to blend. If you're not careful, though, it will blend out almost to nothing. So with this, you just have to be careful not to overblend, but it is a very, very beautiful light kind of bronzer shade. It looks very, very natural on me. So I do use this as a cream bronzer fairly often, but it is definitely not a contour. The reason it's not a contour is because you see the undertone there? Well, it's got the tiniest bit of gray. It's mostly a warmer undertone. So this has got, I would say it's got more of like that peachy orange undertone to it. On my skin tone, it doesn't pull too orange or too red, which is why it's a really beautiful bronzer for me. And the reason I can use it as a bronzer is because it's got that slight gray undertone to it, to where it won't pull too warm and just make me look like I'm a crazy person. So this is a really, really great option. This would work even if you used it very, very lightly. If you were slightly paler or more fair than I am, I believe that this would work for you as well. The next two shades I have are a bit darker, and these are the ones I use when I have a little bit of a tan going on. So this is the shade 805. This is Call Me Maple. This is a really beautiful shade as well. That's what she looks like. They, again, blend out really, really beautifully. Super, super easily. And it's just a step darker. This one is just a step darker than this one. Again, really, really beautiful, but this one does have more of that red kind of undertone to it and a lot less gray. So this one I use just to kind of deepen my bronze when I can't contour or I don't want to contour. I will take two different shades of bronzer and give my face depth that way. So this one is really beautiful. These two used in conjunction. This one I would put everywhere that I wanted to like contour slash bronze. So my cheekbones, around my hairline, along my nose. And then I would use this darker shade only right here at the deepest part of my cheekbone. And then right through here, just to really deepen my bronze and slightly kind of contour. But again, it is not a contour shade. It is a bronzer shade because there's no kind of gray, cool undertone there. The last shade is Where's Walnut, and I do use this one fairly often because this one is just a little bit deeper, but I find that this has more of that gray undertone to it even than this one. So as you can see, this one pulls just a little bit more like red. This one has a little bit more of that like cooler undertone to it. And you can really blend these out and shear these out to almost nothing if you really want to. But see how this one has just a little bit more of like a cool undertone? Would say that this one doesn't pull quite as red as this one does. So I actually really, really enjoy using this one. I use this one when I'm tan, but I can use this one even though it's a little bit darker. I can still use this one without a tan because it's got that nice cooler undertone to it. So my two favorites out of all three of these shades would be the Oaks on You and Where's Walnut. These are the two that I say I would use most often. These are the Wet n Wild contour sticks. And then the shade that I use when I'm tan is the Call Me Maple, because this one has a little bit more of like a reddy, more orangier undertone to it. So these are the most affordable contour sticks that I have, but again, they're not contour sticks, they're bronzer sticks, just because they have so much warmth to them. The next ones I have going slightly higher up the price scale would be, and we're just sticking to cream contours right now. So I don't remember which one is more expensive. Let's go with Hard Candy first, because I know that's the least expensive. So this is the Hard Candy Highlight and Contour Stick. This is really affordable. I don't remember how much it is or how much it costs, but I do know since I own it, it's got to be affordable, and I do know you get it at the drugstore. The packaging on this is not ideal. You cannot carry this with you. These little caps, like, they just fling off at a moment's notice. I never use this highlight side unless I really want like a snatched nose contour. I find that this is really, really nice to use just down the center of my nose, just to really highlight that if I want like I said, a really snatched contour. But the actual contour side of this is so nice. It is the most gray toned cream contour that I think I own, and it's a really, really beautiful shade. Let me swatch it somewhere that you're going to actually be able to see it. Now, even before I rub that out, you can see how cool of an undertone that has. This is in the medium shade. I don't know. I assume that they have a light and a dark version, but the only one I've ever seen is the medium shade. But it is a really, really almost perfect contour. It's got just a hint of warmth to it, but you can tell it's got that really cool, almost like gray undertone to it. This does blend out like a dream. It's really, really beautiful. I would say this is like the truest contour stick I own, because it does give me that little bit of an illusion of a shadow. You see how this one has more of that like kind of like gray brown undertone to it, whereas all of these pull more red or orange. Can you see the difference? This, I would say, is the closest thing I have to a true contour stick, and it really is very, very beautiful. I use this very sparingly because you do not get very much product, and I'm almost out of it. I've had that for a while, and that's how much product I have left. Again, it's nicely pigmented, so you don't have to use a ton of it, but it is a really, really beautiful and probably one of the best cream contour options at the drugstore. I purchased mine at Walmart. Again, that was the Hard Candy Highlight and Contour Stick in the shade Medium. The next ones I use as cream bronzers. Again, these are not contour. The only true contour, the only thing, the closest to true contour is the Hard Candy one. But these are absolutely stunning, stunning, stunning cream bronzers. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. I have it in 2 shades. The first of which being Cashew and the second being Walnut. I use both of these shades. They're both really, really beautiful. So this is the shade Cashew. This one is a really, really beautiful, beautiful shade. The thing I like about these is they're not orange and they're not red. They don't pull super warm on me at all. And they're both absolutely stunning. Now, this one, I would say this is Cashew. So this one is 100%, if you used this alone, you could bronzer with this in a heartbeat. It's got just enough of that cool undertone to it and just enough warmth to really get away with using it for both. And if you're really like on the go and need to be quick and don't have time for both steps, I feel like this is an excellent, excellent option. But I like to use both of these shades together. I use this as my bronzer and this is my contour because again, it has that cool kind of gray undertone to it, but it's a little bit darker, so I can use it to really build depth on my face. So I'll use this in all of the big areas, cheekbones, forehead, right along here. I'll use it on my nose, and then I'll go back in with the darker shade and just as the same thing I do with the Wet n Wild contour sticks. I'll take the darker shade just on my cheekbones and right around my hairline, just to really deepen up and give myself a little bit more depth. It's really, really nice. Both of these shades used in conjunction work beautifully together, and it is almost perfect, almost perfect. If the shade Cashew had just a little bit more if the shade Walnut had just a little bit more gray to it, it would be my perfect contour. It really is so, so beautiful. These work for me when I'm pale. They work for me when I'm tan. It just depends on how much you put on your skin at one time, but they're both beautiful. They blend out really, really easily. They add coverage because, again, it's a concealer. And it is a full coverage concealer. So they add coverage and they really just, they work. They really work, and they're so, so beautiful. And even the darker shade, it really has that kind of gray undertone, but because it's got just a little bit of warmth to it as well, it brings life to your face and doesn't really make you look dead. They're both so, so beautiful. I love these. The last sticks I have to talk to you guys about are the is this L'Oreal? I really do love my L'Oreal. So these are the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Sticks. I have 2 shades. Again, I have the shade 407 and 408. So 407 is Beige Natural and 408 is Tan. So this is 407. You can see, again, it's got kind of like the same tones as the concealer. It's warm, but not too warm. It's got that tiny touch of a gray undertone that keeps it from pulling too orange or too red on my skin. And then 408 Tan is exactly the same way. I would say that these two colors coordinate very much to the liquid concealers. I think they pretty much are the same colors, just in different forms. And they're both, again, work absolutely beautifully. I use this when I'm having a little bit more of like an oilier day because I find that the concealers, I like the concealers because they set down fully and I don't have to set my face. But if I'm feeling a little bit more oily and I feel like my face can handle a little bit more powder, I will use the shaping sticks because these do not set on their own and you do have to set these down with some kind of powder. So just be aware, if you have oilier skin, I would go with the well, you could use whatever you wanted if you have the oilier skin, because you're going to end up using powder either way. But if you are drier, I would say go for the concealers, just because they set on their own and you don't have to powder them down. Now the powders that I have to talk about, I only have 4, so this is going to be super, super quick, and then we're going to jump in and we're going to do our face. But the first of which being, this is super, super affordable. This is $5. This is from Profusion Cosmetics. This is a Highlight and Contour 1 palette. They have a Contour 2 as well that I think is just a little bit deeper, but the Highlight and Contour is perfect for my skin tone. You get 6 different shades in here, 3 highlighters, all of which are absolutely beautiful. I love them all. And then you've got 3 kind of shaping shades. So this is a highlight, like a matte highlight, so you could put this under the eyes. I have put this under the eyes. It's really beautiful. It's got like kind of a peachy undertone, so it's a little bit brightening and does a little bit of color correcting as well. But then you've got this shade, which you can tell is my absolute favorite. This is called Light Sculpt, and I love this contouring powder. I feel like the shade of it is almost perfect. Again, it's still not like a true gray color, but it does have enough of that cool tone in it that I find that I can contour with it. And then I go in again with the Tan Sculpt, which is, again, the same kind of concept. It's not orange, it's not red, it's got just enough of that gray kind of cool undertone. So I'll go in and I will do this first, just like I do with the lighter colors of the sticks and the creams. I'll go in first with the lighter color and do the bulk of my like bronzing, and then I'll go back in with the darker shade and do a little bit of my contour and add depth. So this is a really, really great option for that. Super, super affordable. I will say that the pans are fairly small and it doesn't last forever, but they are nicely pigmented, so you don't need to use a lot of them. But for $5, and you get 3 highlighters. I haven't used, if you guys can tell, I have used quite a bit of this one, and this one being my favorite just because it's absolutely, just look at that. It's absolutely blinding. Really, really gorgeous. It's mixed with contour now, but it is a really beautiful highlighter. And then the middle one is just got that really beautiful kind of champagne-y kind of color to it. It's really, really pretty. I do enjoy the highlighters, but I have so many highlighters that I find that I don't use the ones in here super, super often. And then the last like palette I have is the e.l.f. So this is the e.l.f. contour palette. This is in the shade light medium. This is fantastic as well. I love this contour palette. This brightening shade, I find it is reflective, so it is not a matte shade. I don't know if it's going to show up if I just swatch it, but it does. When you put it under your eyes, it has reflectiveness to it. It's got like a pearlescence to it. So when you're like dusting it on your face, just be aware, because in the pan it looks very, very matte. But once you get it on your face, it kind of, it's got that luminosity to it. And if you overdo it, it can really make you look not good. So just be aware of that. I don't really use this color very much. It's kind of got that peachy undertone. It's not quite a banana powder. But this is just too light for me, and I just don't find myself needing it. I feel that you could probably dust this under your eyes if you really needed to, but I feel like it's just not light enough for that, for me, for my skin tone, but I guess it's there if you need it. I would appreciate if this was actually a true banana powder. I feel like if this was a banana powder, I probably would use it more often. But these 2 shades down here, I don't know if you can see in my pan how far down this is dented, but I am about to touch pan on this one, and I'm not far behind it with this one. These are my 2 absolute favorite contouring shades from e.l.f. I just feel like they're really, really beautiful. Super buttery, super smooth, super pigmented. They blend so easy. They're really, really easy to use. And then again, you come across, it's not orange, it's not red, kind of perfect for my skin tone, but they just blend so easily. And when I'm in the mood and really just want like a super quick contour, I can just take my e.l.f. brush. I really like to use the e.l.f. Buffing Foundation brush for contour. I like to place it with the contour brush, which is such a great shape for placing contour. And then I like to go in with my buffing brush and buff it away. But I find that when I'm in a rush and just need a quick face, this is the one that I usually go to, because they're so pigmented. I don't find myself having to like dip back into it very often, and I can just kind of bang it on my face, and it kind of just, it buffs away on its own, and it's just a beautiful soft contour, and it's kind of perfect. I really, really do enjoy this one, and this one is $8. It's only $8. So I think it's a really, really nice price, you get a good amount of product for your money. And yeah, it's just a really, really cute little palette. Now, the last two I have to talk about, the two powders I have to talk about, are actual bronzers. So they're both from L'Oreal. Again, I love L'Oreal. I don't think that L'Oreal is talked about enough, but they make some of my absolute favorite products, especially where bronzers are concerned. I love the bronzers. I love the blush. The blush is fantastic as well. I love all of their Lumi products. I just really enjoy L'Oreal. I feel like they're fairly expensive at the drugstore. They're, you know, they're OGs and they've been around for forever. But they're definitely like mid-range drugstore pricing. So at the top, you've got like Milani and Pixie and things like that. At the bottom, you've got Wet n Wild and Elf. And I would say that L'Oreal fits right there perfectly in the middle, probably towards the top tier of pricing. But I have both of these bronzers. These are from the same line, I believe. So I have the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It, and then I also have the L'Oreal Bronze Please. So these are both in very, very similar packaging, but I like them for exactly the same reason that I like the e.l.f. palette and all of the other ones. I find that the Lumi Bronze It has a little bit of a sheen to it, not too awful much, but it does have just a little bit of reflectiveness to it. So I will use this as a bronzer. I love the tone of this bronzer. It's not too warm. It doesn't pull super warm on my skin. It doesn't pull red or orange, and it's got just enough of that like cool toned undertone to it to really work as like a shadow on my face. So this is really perfect kind of one and done bronzer for me. I can just take my little angled brush and just kind of dust it all over my face and be good to go. So I really, really enjoy this for that. But I also enjoy the Bronze Please for the exact same reason. This is, I have this in the shade Light. I think this is light bronze. Yeah, 01. So the Lumi Bronze is 01 and the Bronze Please is 01 as well. So they're both the lightest shades they make in both ranges. But I absolutely adore this contour, not contour, but this bronzer because of the warmth it provides. So if you guys can see that color, it's really beautiful. And it actually appears quite orange in the pan, but it's got that like all of the L'Oreal products do. It's got that just barely cool, barely there kind of cool undertone. It's this right here. It's very, very light. It's nicely pigmented and very buildable. So I don't have to worry about like going overboard on it because it's got such light pigment and I can really work on it and really build up the warmth on my face to my liking. So it's really, really easy to work with. Very, very beginner friendly. And not only that, but the pan is absolutely beautiful. I love the packaging and the color of it is just bang on perfect. I love the warmth that this brings to my face. I use this a lot in the summer. I would say that this one is more of my winter bronzer and this one is more of my summer bronzer, but they're both absolutely perfect. I would say that if you're a little bit fairer than I am, this one would be perfect for you. Just again, because the undertone has got more of that cool kind of gray undertone. But if you're my skin tone, I feel like this one would be absolutely perfect. Really, really beautiful, very, very warm bronzer, and I love it so much. It's warm without being too warm, which is like that fine line you have to how you have to walk with drugstore bronzers, and this I feel just walks that line perfectly. It's really, really gorgeous. Now, I'm going to wipe all of these swatches now that I've been talking for 30 minutes. I'm going to wipe all of these swatches off my hand. I'm going to do a quick foundation lay down, and then we'll see some of these bronzers at work. And we'll see, I can really show you guys why I love them so much. If you are wondering about the eye look that I am wearing today, hopefully that video will be posted before this one. But I did this look using my BH Cosmetics bubblegum palette. Absolutely stunning. I have all kinds of rhinestones and yumminess. I am super, super tired, so please excuse my very, very red eyes. But I couldn't bring myself to take it off. I was so in love with it. I couldn't bring myself to take it off to film this video. So you're gonna see the same eye look twice, but y'all just get to bask in the glory for another video, and that's okay. I'm gonna take my Real Techniques sponge. I'm gonna my hair back because it's killing me today. I'm gonna use this Revlon Candid Glow concealer. It's not a concealer. I'm going to use the Revlon Candid Glow foundation today. I'm in the shade 270. I've been using some of those Morphe tan drops on my chest and my face. So if I seem a little tan, it's because I kind of am. I'm experimenting with drops before summer gets here to see where, you know, which ones give me the tone that I want. And I'm really, really liking them. They are the... I'll show you guys what I'm using. It's the Morphe Faux Show Sunless Tanning Face and Body Drops. These are fantastic. I've been using them for about 2 weeks now, and all I do is put a couple of drops into my moisturizer before I rub it into my face every morning, and it has like tanned me up really, really nicely. It looks like super, super natural. It's not orangey or red. It looks really, really natural on me, and it looks very much like the color I turn when I actually get sun. I'm super, super into them. And not only that, but the bottle is super adorable as well. I think my son ran off with the other bottle because it's not sitting up on my dresser. He likes to play with them because he likes the little squeezy tube. But look how pretty the actual bottle is. It's a really beautiful, heavy brown glass bottle. I think it looks so luxe and so pretty. So yes, I have been enjoying those. Excuse the sniffing. I am still dealing with allergies 100%. It doesn't look like they're going to go away anytime soon. So let us begin now that we're almost 30 minutes into the video. Guys, I try so hard to be quick sometimes, and it seems like the harder I try to be quick, the longer I talk. I don't know why that is, but it is the dang truth. I actually have been playing with this foundation quite a bit lately. I'm trying to get ready for summer. I'm kind of trying to wish it into existence. I'm so ready for it to be here. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm so ready for winter to be over. I am so tired of waking up and being cold. I know, you know, you're getting old when you have to like wake up and you have to like warm your body up to get moving. I know I'm getting old because like I wake up in the morning and my body just screams at me like I need warmth. Trying to like get out from under the covers is like one of the hardest things I do all day. I really, really enjoy the coverage of this foundation. It looks very, very skin-like. I would say it's got light to medium coverage, but it's buildable. It feels nice and lightweight on my skin. Not heavy at all. I feel like the color match is really, really nice for me. It's almost spot on. And it's almost undetectable on my skin. I will say that this does have a dry down all of its own, so it is not necessary to set it down with powder, which I love, especially for the summertime coming up. During the summer, I really try to use as many cream products as I can, and I try to stay away from as much powder as I can, just because I really like that nice, dewy, almost sweaty look for the summertime. I just think it looks more natural, whereas I feel like it's more natural to be a bit more matte and kind of like dry looking, excuse the term, but dry looking in the winter. I feel like in the summer, you really want to look kind of dewy and glossy. I really love to bring my like glossy skin or glass skin primers out in the summer and really just kind of try to make my skin look as transparent as I can. I feel like it's a game. Who can look the sweatiest and the greasiest, but still be sexy at the same time? I don't know that I've ever won that competition, but I tell you what, I compete. I try. Look at the finish of that foundation. It is so, so beautiful. Again, it is very, very, very lightweight. Almost looks like I don't have anything on my skin at all, which is kind of the point. It does take care of a lot of my redness. My face, it is fully set down. My face doesn't feel sticky or tacky in any way. Excuse me. Sticky or tacky in any way. It is fully dried down. I am going to put just a little bit. So that was 2 pumps that I used. So very, very light coverage. I am going to take just a little bit more, like one more half a pump, and bring it around my nose just to cover up any, maybe a little bit on my forehead as well. My forehead tends to be pretty red too. Just to kind of take care of any remaining redness that I have going on. I always seem to be the most red around my nose. And you know what's so crazy is I end up trying to take it away with foundation. And then I come back behind with blush and just put it right back. I feel like makeup is so counterintuitive sometimes. But it kind of is what it is. I waxed my lip and had a little bit of an ingrown hair on my lip. Just letting you guys know, it is not a cold sore. It is a healing. I messed up and I picked at it, and I shouldn't have. I'm almost a 31-year-old woman. My birthday is next month on the 10th. I'm almost a 31-year-old woman and still cannot bring myself to not pick at things that I know I shouldn't. So do as I say, not as I do. Don't pick. It's never worth it. It is never worth it. So I have a slowly healing kind of boo-boo on my lip that doesn't really want to be covered by much. Try to get it to blend in as much as I can. Okay, so there's the finish on this foundation. It's stunning. I absolutely love it. I forgot I put stuff on my forehead. Ooh, I almost missed that. I probably would have went to put my bronzer on and smeared foundation everywhere, and I'd have been so upset and had to start refilming. That would have sucked. Tomorrow is Monday. It is back to life as we know it tomorrow. Are we all excited? I know everybody loves Mondays. Mondays are just the absolute best. Love it so much. Okay, so for bronzer, I am going to use the Infallible Full Wear. Again, I'm trying to test out summer looks, and I don't have to set this down. I probably will use just a little bit of powder, but not much. First, let's do a little bit of concealing. I don't really need it, but I do need just a touch under my eyes, just for my bags. I have been really loving the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Medium Peach. I think it's a really, really beautiful shade for me. I think it's going to be even better for me this summer when I have a little bit more of a tan going on. I'm just going to put a touch right where my bags are the deepest. I like, again, the peachy undertone of this. It's almost yellow, and I find it to be nice and brightening. I'm just going to put a little bit under my eyes, and then I'll blend it out with my Real Techniques sponge. Again, I know that I have complained about this sponge a million times, but that is only because it is nowhere near as good as my e.l.f. sponge. I absolutely love the e.l.f. I don't know if it's like the Flawless Complexion sponge or the Ultimate sponge, but it is the e.l.f. red, like pinky red sponge, and it is absolutely perfect. It is my favorite sponge of all time, and it's the sponge that I was using before this one, and I had it for absolutely eons. I had it for maybe, I want to say like six months. Of course, I clean it every time I use it, but it lasted me 6 good months, and it finally started falling apart on me. So I finally had to retire it. But it is the absolute most perfect, bounciest, just squishiest, comfortable sponge I've ever used in my life. Compared to that, this sponge is hard. Compared to my e.l.f. sponge, this is hard. It doesn't bounce. It just feels like a regular old piece of foam. And the e.l.f. sponge, I almost want to like akin to Flubber. Has anybody seen that movie? Has anybody seen the movie Flubber with Robin Williams? One of my favorite movies of all times. If you guys have seen that movie, let me know in the comments below. Tell me, let me know if it's one of your favorite movies as well. I absolutely adore that movie. It makes me laugh every single time. Every time I see it on TV, I have to watch it. I own it on DVD and watch it all the time. One of my absolute favorite movies. It's so freaking cute. So yeah, please do let me know in the comments below if you guys like that movie as well. I'm going to take the same hydrating concealer, and I'm going to put just a little bit on the middle of my forehead. Let's do some down the middle of my nose. Let's do some on either side of my Cupid's bow. And then on my chin as well. I'm going to take some of the regular camo concealer. This is in the shade Fair Warm. And I'm going to add just the tiniest bit over that peach shade, just to kind of help brighten things up a little bit. You don't need a ton of this because it is very, very brightening, and it's not very hydrating. So I really try to use the least amount possible to get the effect I need. But I'm going for a very snatched look, and I'm going for a very contoured look. And as important as the contour is, the highlight is important as well. Your contour could be amazing, but if it's got nothing to contrast against, it's going to have to work 3 times as hard to do the same job. Also, when you are, if you're like me and use a sponge for all of the different steps on your face, make sure that you're designating a side of your sponge for each application. So I like to use the shorter side of my sponge for my highlight because it's smaller and I can get into the smaller places that I need to highlight. And then I like to use the longer side for my contour because I feel like it's longer and fits more easily into the contours of my face. But when you start to mix them, things can start to get muddy and not be quite as bright as you would like them to be. It just keeps everything really nice and separated, so you really get the effect you're looking for. And I also find it helps me to not use quite as much product as well, because the highlight is really not having to work so hard to combat contour, etc. But this is really, really pretty. I do find that this is one of those concealers that you cannot let hang out too awful long on your face, because it does kind of dry down. And if you let it chill too long in one spot, it will kind of leave marks on you. So I really like, not like rush, but I really like to make sure that I'm not letting things hang out too long on my face. I also, when I'm like doing heavy contour, I also like to bring it through my jaw right here. And again, that is just to give my contour something to work off of by making this portion of my face lighter. It's going to make the contour I put up here appear darker without me, again, having to use so much product. So I get the same effect with less caking of product on my face. And don't mind the redness. I'm just rubbing on my face, so it's getting red. It's to be expected. It is the German coming out in me, but that is okay. So that is the contour, or not the contour, but that is the highlight. So I've highlighted key areas of my face. I have not used a lot of concealer to do it. My skin still looks very much like skin. I don't look caked. I don't look heavy. My forehead looks really nice. You guys know that I don't use any kind of filters on my videos. So what you see is what you get. This is my skin. This is what she looks like. I'm a 31-year-old woman. I have wrinkles and I have all kinds of stuff on my skin. Those wrinkles, those forehead wrinkles, man. If I could afford Botox, if only I could afford Botox. But anyway, this is what the skin looks like. We're looking at really, really pretty. Very, very fresh. We've got a nice luminosity going on, but everything is completely set. Our face is not sticky at all. Looking very, very pretty. Now, let's go in with a little bit of a cream bronzer. For that, let's go ahead and use cashew today. I usually like to use walnut, but let's try cashew. It's a little bit lighter. It's going to look just a little bit more natural. So I don't go heavy on this because, again, this is a full coverage concealer. So it's going to add not only coverage, but it's very, very pigmented. So I'm going to go above the natural divot because, again, I have a very round face. I want to lift everything and make my face appear to be a little bit slimmer. So I'm going to go above my natural divot. My natural indentation is right here. I'm going to go above that, and I'm just going to do 3 dots. I'm going to do that on both sides, going straight on from my ear in a straight line. Just 3 dots. I'm going to place and I'm going to blend, though I do find that you can let this concealer chill out on your skin for a little while and it doesn't leave imprints. But I prefer to place and blend. And to do my concealer or my contour, I'm going to use this brush. This is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. It is a very, very densely packed, domed complexion brush, and it is perfect for contour. And what I like to do is I like to start at the very, very back and just kind of pounce my brush and start to distribute my product so I get a nice even lay down. And then I go in with very, very gentle pressure and I start buffing and blending, and kind of moving that product upward to help me give that lifted effect. Just like that. It looks very, very natural. It is a very, very light, tiny bit of warmth to the skin. Now, I do like to have that kind of cut, kind of line there. If you do not like the line to be as pronounced as I do, you can definitely go in and you can blend that just a little bit more and blend it down just a bit so it hides itself a little bit more. Or you could definitely go over it with your sponge and just kind of, again, just blend it until you're happy with it. I like to have that nice cut there. But I do like to blend it up and kind of help it to disappear as it gets closer to my eye. I like it to kind of fade up, just like that. It's really, really beautiful. It is a very, very, very natural shade on my skin tone. Let's go. This was kept. I used cashew. So I'm also, let's do the other side real quick before I get ahead of myself. Again, I'm just going to kind of pounce it to distribute the product and then start buffing with very, very gentle pressure, and then start kind of pulling it upward toward my eye. Just like so. It ends up blending so, so beautifully, so, so easily. It's a really, really easy product to use. Again, there's no reason in the world to be afraid of cream contour, besides the fact that it's only makeup. Y'all, it washes off. It is not a big deal. I find that one of the biggest hurdles we have to get over doing our makeup is the fear of messing up, is the fear of making a mistake. Y'all, we're gonna make mistakes. We're human. Ain't nobody divine over here. We might like to think we are, but we're not. We're human. We make mistakes. But the great thing about makeup is it literally, at the end of the day, washes right off. Ain't nothing that a little soap and warm water can't fix. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to explore different colors and different shapes. You never know until you try. That's what I tell my son all the time. You never know until you try. You never know. Maybe that next mistake is going to lead to your greatest breakthrough. But you'll never know if you don't take the risk and try it in the first place. See how beautifully that blends in? And because it's a cream, I can kind of seamlessly incorporate it into my hairline. And I don't get that line of like demarcation between my bronzer and my hairline. Because I feel like that's what gives away bronzer the most, is having that line between your hairline and your bronzer. I hate that line. It is my arch nemesis when it comes to contouring my face. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side of my face. I'm just going to kind of pounce my brush and drag it up towards my hairline. And then when I've got the product distributed, I'm going to go in with very, very gentle buffing motions and get it blended out. Just like that. And it does blend in to the face super, super seamlessly. It's beautiful. And what I like most about it is it has its own dry down. So again, I don't have to set it with any kind of powder to make it long lasting. It really just kind of does that on its own really, really beautifully. And then I like to kind of really make sure that this line is nice and blended out. I cannot stand like just having that kind of, like, I like to call it a helmet of contour on my forehead. I have a pretty generous forehead, so I really want to make sure that I just don't have a straight line of contour or bronzer on my forehead. So I'm going to go in with the same color, y'all. I hope y'all have a cup of coffee. I hope y'all are sitting back and relaxing and learning to contour with me. I figured this video was going to be pretty long, and it is. Contouring is one of those things that I'm so passionate about because it really can help shape your face in the most beautiful, amazing ways. And it is so, so important. And I really feel like contour is one of those things most women don't do just because they just don't know how to do it. And as a larger lady, contour is so important. It is so important to bringing shape back to my face and really making me feel as beautiful as I can be. I think it's so, so important. So for my nose contour, I'm using the same shade, Cashew. But I'm going to take this Moda Flat Eye Fluff brush. It is just a thin, kind of fluffy brush, but I find it perfect for blending out cream contour on my nose. I love the shape so, so much. And I'm going to take that, and I didn't put a bunch on. I just did a very, very tiny amount on my nose. And I'm going to start kind of fluffing that along the sides of my nose and also bringing that up into the beginning of my eyebrow. Just like that. And I'm kind of swirling my brush so I don't have any like super straight edges. I really want to blend that in as much as I can. I really do like to contour my nose because I have quite a wide nose, but I don't like nose contour that looks like super artificial. I really like my nose contour to be as natural as I can make it. And I like to come in just a little bit on the tip of my nose because, again, that's what I want to slim down, is the tip of my nose. I have quite a bulbous nose, so I really like to make the tip look as small as I possibly can. So I do a straight line on either side of the bridge of my nose and then kind of bring it in towards the tip. Just like that. And again, I'm going to take this up towards the beginning of my brow and really swirl my brush and really blend that line to make sure I don't have just a straight line of contour. Now for the nose, I'm going to go in with my Hard Candy Highlight and Contour Stick. I'm going to take just a little bit of this highlight shade just down the bridge of my nose just to show you guys how it works. I'm going to take the same brush and I'm just going to start tapping over that line. Just like that, just to brighten up the bridge of my nose, just like that. And then I'll take my sponge and very, very lightly tap over the edges of my lines to really blend everything together. And now we have a really pretty contoured nose, but it's not overboard. It's not too much. And I'm really, really happy with it. It looks just a little bit thinner, but not noticeably so. Not like I sat there and tried to contour my nose. I am all about like a full face and a full beat, but I also like it to look as natural as I can. I don't want it to look like I'm wearing a ton of makeup, even when I am. I really try for the most natural kind of look that I can get. And it doesn't matter how much stuff I put on my neck, it's just going to be red. I'm just not even going to worry about it. But for the most part, that is the bronzer. Now we can go in and we can deepen things just a touch. For that, I think I will use, let's go ahead and use the highlight and contour stick from Hard Candy. Let's use the contour side of it. And I'm going to put this right above my natural indentation. I'm going to do a really nice short line. I'm also going to put just a touch right at the highest parts of my forehead and just a touch right here on each one of my temples. Not a lot, not a ton, just a little bit. All I'm looking for is a tiny bit of depth just to accentuate the work that we've already done. I'm going to go back into my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with the bronzer shade. I'm just going to start tapping over top of where I placed that product. And really, I want to keep my contour right here. I don't want to bring it too far down because it's going to be too much and it's going to look too fake. I really just want to keep the shadow right here, right in the back towards my hairline. And then I'm going to start stippling and flicking upward to help blend that shadow and make it melt seamlessly in with my contour. And now we've got just a little bit more depth there, but it looks super, super natural. It looks very much like a shadow and not like product just sitting on top of my skin. I'm going to do the same thing with all of the other little dollops that I placed. I don't really want to spread the product too awful far from where I placed it. I really just want to help it melt into the skin and look like a little bit of a deeper shadow than what we had going on before. And you see how beautifully and how easily this product just kind of melts into your skin. It really does disappear, but it leaves behind just enough pigment and just enough of a shadow to do what it's supposed to do without looking fake and artificial. I really, really do love this contour stick. It is my absolute favorite cream contour stick at the drugstore. I love it so awful much, and it's hard to find at my local Walmart because I'm sure I'm not the only one that loves it. So I use it very, very sparingly and mostly for when I really want to look snatched for special occasions, just because I'm scared to death I'm not going to be able to find another one of them. And it is the most perfect contour shade for me. I just love the formula. It is so easy to work with. It just works. I love when you can find a product that just does what it's supposed to do without too much fuss, without too much muss. It just does exactly what it's meant to do. And then you're left with an absolutely beautiful, beautiful base. I look sculpted and chiseled, but I don't look fake. I don't look like I've sat here for an hour piling makeup onto my face. It just is so, so beautiful and so, so natural, and I love it so, so much. My complexion looks perfectly even, perfectly put together. I'm going to go over everything one more time with the flat side of my Beauty Blender. I like to do this just for the sake, I was going to say continuity, but I don't think that fits there. I just like to do this as a final step, just as like a final blend, just to make sure everything is as blended as I want it to be. Everything is completely melted together and everything looks exactly the way I want it to. So, so beautiful. I look chiseled and sculpted, but it's not too much. It doesn't look fake. It still looks very, very natural, very sun-kissed. So let's do a little bit of blush and bronzer. So for blush today, because my eyes are super, super blue, I wanted to use something with a little bit more of like a cool undertone to it. My face is like perfectly set. I will say that the hard candy stick is not self-setting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a touch of a powder, like the teeniest, tiniest bit of a powder. I'm going to take this one. I have been testing this one out and I absolutely love it. This is the Hard Candy Chilling Wonder Powder, the Sheer Envy Loose Powder Hydrating Edition. Guys, this is so fantastic. It feels cooling on my skin, but it is not heavy. It's super, super finely milled. So it just kind of like goes on in this really, really light dusting, but it sets everything really, really well. Doesn't make my face look heavy. It doesn't dry me out. It's a really, really beautiful powder. I am doing the tiniest bit just because I don't want my blush to catch on anything, and I don't want it to look puffy. I am just doing the sheerest, thinnest layer of powder, just dusting it over my entire face. Just like that. You can't even tell that I put powder on, but everything is nice and set now. But I don't look matte. I still look very luminous and very like dewy and fresh. This powder is fantastic. It's not super expensive either. I absolutely love it. I've been testing this for, I want to say about 3 weeks now. Oh, it is as close to a perfect hydrating powder as I have found at the drugstore. I love it so, so much. So for blush today, I'm going to use this Age Perfect. So this is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Satin Blush. This is in the shade 400 Berry. Really, really beautiful blush. It's nicely packed in there, beautifully pigmented. I love the shade. It's nice and dark and deep without being too much. I'm going to use my e.l.f. angled blush brush to put this on. I just kind of tap it in here a couple times, and I like to start at the back up towards my temples, right where I probably would put my highlighter. And I like to start way back here. This is where I want the deepest deposit of pigment to be. Again, it's all about lifting and thinning my face. So by putting my blush here instead of here, it's going to make my face look thinner and longer and not quite as round and wide. So I'm just going to start way back here, and you can already see the color. I'm doing a very, very light layer because this blush is very, very pigmented. So I don't want to go too far too quickly. And I'm starting up here at the back and kind of fading the pigment in toward the apple of my cheek. But I'm not going to take it further than my iris. So a lot of people cap it at their eye, but I like to see a little bit of the color at the front of my face too. So I like to pull it forward, but I don't like to go any further than the black part of my eye. So right here, I'm not going to bring it any further than right here. But just doing very, very light pigment up here and keeping most of my color back here up toward my temple. And I'm just kind of stippling it on and depositing my color. And then with very, very gentle pressure, I'll use circular motions to blend it out and make sure it's nice and seamless. But I love the color of this blush. It is so, so pretty. It's not red, but it's not pink. It's that really beautiful, like, mauve-y berry tone that I feel like is so, so attractive on so many different skin tones. And I do feel like that this blush would work for much deeper skin tones than just because it is beautifully pigmented. And it's super, super buildable. So you can layer this on top of itself over and over again and really build up that pigment to the intensity that you desire. Which I love about a blush. Because if there's one thing I hate, it's you know, being careful and only getting a little bit on my brush and going to put it on my face and it be overboard way too quick. So like it's over and ruined before I've even had a chance to work with it. I hate things like that. While I appreciate pigment and I, you know, bring the pigment, I also don't want you to like flood me with it as well. I really want to be able to work with it and really customize the pigmentation to a point that I am happy with. Just kind of blend out my edges. It's a beautifully blendable formula as well. Like I said, just really, really easy to work with. And I feel like the flush that it puts on your cheeks is such a natural color and so, so attractive. It's so, so pretty. Very, very flattering. I'm also going to take just a little bit on my chin. I'm going to take a little bit on my nose. I like to do a little bit on the tip of my nose. I'm going to bring a little bit around my hairline as well. Just anywhere that I would naturally flush. My forehead does tend to get quite red. I'm just going to do the barest hint of color though. I'm not like blushing my forehead. I'm just putting the tiniest bit of color up there. Again, this is going to make the overall face look so much more natural. Just like that. And now we have color on our face and we feel beautiful and blushed and young and fresh and gorgeousness. For highlighter today, since we're doing hard candy, we might as well keep with the hard candy theme. This is the hard candy rose gold highlighter. First of all, packaging absolutely adorable. I love it. But the highlighter itself is stunning. It's a glass highlighter, so it's got mostly a clear base. And I don't find like a ton of, what is that word? Doesn't leave a cast on my face, but it's so beautifully reflective. It really is so, so gorgeous. So I'm going to take my Moda highlighting brush. I'm going to take my Moda highlighting brush and I'm just going to kind of sweep it in all the colors. I will say that this is a very, very dusty highlighter. So just be careful with that. You don't need to go digging your brush into this palette. All I do is really just kind of tap in there. But it does give you the most beautiful, kind of natural looking wet highlight. It's so, so beautiful and really, I love it. I love it so much. And again, it's hard candy, so it's pretty affordable. Really, really beautiful. I like to put it on the high points of my face. I like to put a little bit on the tip of my nose and along the bridge of my nose. My Cupid's bow. Of course, let's do a little bit on our chin. And we'll do a little bit on the edges of my forehead, just where the light catches normally. And we're done. Beautifully, beautifully natural. It is a beautifully natural highlight. You can tell that the highlight is there, but it's subtle enough to look pretty natural. It really is so, so beautiful. One of my favorite highlighters right now. I love it. Hard Candy's coming for it. I swear. They're like upping their game and they're really beautiful. Hard Candy wasn't too much on my radar, too awful much before I got these newest round of products to test out, but I really have been loving them so, so much. So the last thing we have to do is a little bit of bronzer. I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Lumi Bronze It first and show you guys how that applies. I like to take a very soft, very kind of floppy, fluffy brush. I like to use an angled brush for my bronzer application. And I just kind of tap into here and I start at my forehead using circular motions. And I just kind of dust it on. I don't try to be too awful precise because I don't want like lines. I just like to kind of fluff it all around the edges of my face. just to kind of bring a little bit of warmth back to the situation. Also like to bring it a little bit along my jawline. I have a double chin, so I don't bring it under my chin because I find that just emphasizes the situation there. So I just bring it along the sides of my chin just to give me a little bit of a sharper kind of jawline. But I leave under my chin alone. I do not want to emphasize the double chin at all if I don't have to. So I just focus on each side of my jawline, and then I bring it down my neck on both sides, just so that we all look pretty close to the same color. Dust it on my décolletage. And we're good to go, guys. Let's do a little bit of a setting spray. So for setting spray, this is my absolute favorite. This is the NYX Bear With Me Prime Set Refresh 8-Hour Setting Spray. I love this stuff. It is so fantastic. I don't know if they're discontinuing it or not, but I got so lucky the other day at Walmart. The other day, it was a while ago, and I found a fresh bottle of it, so I picked it up and put it in my cart. It's got the most beautiful fine mist on it, and I find that it really just helps melt all my powder into my face. It doesn't just come spraying and spitting out at me. It's got a really beautiful fine mister on it. It's got a really, really light, fresh scent. It's a very, very pleasant experience all around. And this is the eye, guys. Let's do a little bit of, not the eye, this is the look. Let's do a little bit of a lip gloss. Let's do a, let's go 90s. Let's go straight up 90s. Let's do a brown liner. This is the NYX lip pencil in the shade Brown. I'm just going to do a quick liner situation. I'm going to go back over. Really, really pretty. And then for lip gloss, I'm going to use another hard candy product. I'm telling you, I am falling in love with this brand head over heels for sure. This is the Hard Candy Plumping Serum Gloss in the shade Pink Teddy. You want to talk about the most beautiful milky baby pink gloss? It's beautifully minty and like refreshing on the lips. Oh, it's so juicy and so reflective. It is super, super comfortable. It's not sticky at all. It's not stringy, but I just love like the juiced up. It smells like baked goods and vanilla cupcakes. It's freaking fantastic, and I love it so, so much, almost as much as I love you guys. This is the end of our video. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of in-depth contouring tutorial. Hope you find some value in it. Hope it helps you in some small way at least. Guys, this is what I do literally every time I want like a perfect base. I look flawless. I look absolutely flawless. I don't look like I have a ton of makeup caked up on my face. I don't look matte, but I don't look super, super dewy. I look very, very natural. I think I look beautiful. And if you follow the same steps that I did, I think you will too. Not that you're not beautiful without it, because I'm sure you're absolutely stunning. And you know, you're watching me, so I'm sure you have fantastic taste. But guys, I love you so, so much. It is so, so easy if you really take your time to do an absolutely stunning look with really, really affordable products. Nothing in this video was like over 15 bucks. Everything was super, super affordable. Everything came from Walmart. So it's super accessible as well. I hope this, guys, again, I hope this helped you in some small way. I will, of course, list everything I used in today's video in the description box below, as well as the link to my Facebook page, because I will undoubtedly be posting finished pics over on my makeup page, Makeup for the Everyday Mama. So be sure you go on over there and check it out. I always feel like you get a better idea of how everything really looks in a picture, because you can kind of zoom in and all that good stuff. But yeah, so make sure you head on over there and check those out as well. Please leave me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. And that's going to be it for me today. I love you so, 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 so very much. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And remember, you're important. Bye, my lovelies.